make sure you get that like button hit. This is from Red Indian says, Man United will be back competing in 2 years. That's from a Liverpool fan.
Interesting. Competing for a title. I mean,
I hate timelines. I really do, man. It just pisses me off. I get it, but no, bro. It's just I hate people who talk about timelines. Time is not a thing, bro. It's not tangible. Stop talking about time like it's granted that in 1, 2, 3 years, this and that can happen. It does not happen like that.
Should you have not a timeline, but a deadline of we should be here by then? Because you're not going to give
a deadline
Amorim,
for what?
For him to get you where he wants. Like first, what is his goal? So does he need to get Man United back challenging? And by when? Because he isn't going to have an endless.
Let me ask you a question though. So no, I understand that, right? And I do get it. I get the question. Yeah. And I think me and Staffy would both agree. We'd love it to be this season. We'd love to win our next 20 games on the bounce, right? And within a couple of seasons, you want to have got a squad that's good enough to compete. But what you also have to factor in this is that we don't control how good City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea are. Say Man United improve over the next 2 to 3 seasons and suddenly getting high to mid, high 80 points, but we're still only coming 4th or 5th because the other teams ahead of us now have also continued to get better. That's what the element with timelines frustrates me a little bit, is because people don't want to apply context to that. So I think it's going to take us at least 2 more summers to have a genuinely strong enough squad to even think about competing for a league title against the quality that's in the league now. Again, maybe the quality reduces in that time. So my deadline for the manager, if say there is one, has to be, is the word malleable or agile anyway, and be able to change. Let's say the overarching, say Arne Slot has got us all fooled and end up collapsing this season. They're not very good. Let's say Arsenal just keep getting worse. Okay, they're not bad now, but if they get worse, Chelsea stay at this level, Pep leaves, and City fall off. Then my expectation on us challenging for the league changes. But if City continue at the level they've been at for the last 8 years, Arsenal continue where they've been the last 2, Liverpool get back to the Klopp level of points, then maybe we have to move that deadline up a bit, because it took some of those teams 6, 7, 8 years to get to that level. And because we're Man United, we have to do it in 1 year, 2 years. I think we have to be very sensible about this.
Yeah, but you have to, I think you're right. And I'm not saying that you have to do it now, but there has to be some sort of timeline regardless. Say like over 4 years, you're still competing for top 4, for example. You can't keep going and expect,
deadline for the manager, you mean, or for the manager we're talking head coach?
Deadline of what? Yeah. What are we talking about?
For the manager, that's what I mean. Like for Amorim, like to achieve whatever it is you're expecting him to achieve, what Man United should be achieving, because we know like Arsenal, Liverpool, even City are faltering a bit, but teams aren't just going to get better year on year on year on year. It's not sustainable. There's going to be dips, and some team that wasn't as good last season is going to be good next season.
But here's the thing, Lawless. This is what I'm saying. I don't like timelines. I did a little bit research more about Amorim and what he did at Sporting. Apparently, in his first year, when he went into the team, by the way, the club was much more toxic than anything that's going on in Man United right now. Apparently, they had issues. They had fans confront their own players about the performances. I think they got rid of like 9 senior players that year. The club's vice president stepped down. There was like, you could just tell that it was just toxic in the club at the time. It wasn't working well. He comes in with a completely inferior budget to the likes of Sporting and Benfica, and he wins the league. I don't think anyone expected that, but he did it. Now, I'm not saying because he dealt with that circumstances in Sporting, which should be easier because that's still his own club, that he's going to come here and do that. I'm not saying that will happen. But what if he comes in and the players right away, they adapt to his tactics as quicker than we all thought they would. And then we go on a 5-6 game winning run, and we're putting goals, we're getting clean sheets, we're picking up points easily. And it takes a while to the Premier League teams to adapt and adjust to the way that we play. Because, every manager, sometimes, usually most managers get a honeymoon phase until they get found out with their tactics, and it's very fine. That could very possibly happen. I'm not saying it will, but it could very possibly happen. Equally.
So what are your expectations short term? Like I was able to say for Lopetegui, my expectations are he must do this.
Avoid relegation. He'll do that. He'll do that.
My number one.
No, but I actually said that first season, avoid a relegation battle. play good football, bring through youngsters, right? So far, it's looking like he's 0-3. But I was able to clearly state, these are my minimum expectations. If you fall short of this, then I can't support him. So do you have those minimum expectations in the short term for Amorim? That he,
the number one thing I wanted to see from him, well, I don't know why I'm talking in the past tense. He hasn't managed yet. The one thing that I want to see from him is an identity. He's already stood on business and said that he's going to play his formation, which is 3 in the back. So first thing I'm going to see against Ipswich, I want to see the way that he wants to play football. Okay, if he does that, he's already did something that Ten Hag didn't do, because Ten Hag went back on his own principles. So number one, you've already exceeded one of the bars that Ten Hag had. Now, number two, he said, we need to win now. That makes me believe that he understands, and we're at an agreement that no matter what the situation is, when you take on a job at a club like Manchester United with the expectations, we have to win now. So he's already said that, all right? So I just hope, this is a disclaimer later in the season, if I ever get pissed at Amorim at some point because we're not playing good guys, he's already agreed that we should be winning now. When I take these words, I'm going to be like, you know what? He's at an agreement with most of us that no matter what's going on, the squad should still be good enough to be winning games. And now, as an example, we're in the Europa League. I think the Europa League is not as hard to win because you no longer have Champions League teams dropping in there. So I'm looking at the Europa League and I'm like, you know what? You've won trophies before. I think we're one of the best squads in there. You're one of the best managers in there. I expect us to go and win it. That being said, I'm not going to go Amorim out at bar like some crazy shit happening where I don't know, like he has to do something crazy off the field or whatever with his squad where I'm like, oh wait, no, he has to get sacked now. Anything else, I'm not gonna go Amorim out on his first season at all, because I'm hearing some fans saying I expect a trophy and a top 4 finish. It's still early, or else I'm Amorim out. It is insane for me to judge him by that when we had a manager who was there for 3 years who couldn't even do that. He did it once, finished 3rd, and got us a trophy. And then he failed for 2 seasons after. Failed 1 season, and he was about to fail this season. So I'm not going to judge him crazy and say, oh, well, in the first season, he already has to do da-da-da-da. Yeah. I want my goals to be met, but I'm not going to go out on the manager right away if he doesn't succeed in the first season. Because I look at who he succeeded, and the person who he succeeded, who was here longer, wasn't going to achieve any of that. There's no way this season we would have won a trophy and finished top 4 with Ten Hag anyways. So anything he's going to bring is already going to be an upgrade. But I have to give him enough time. I need to give him time to come in and make all the changes that he wants to make.
I think what I just want to add to that as well, I agree. There's a comment that's come through, and I'd like to address the comments. It says, excuse Terry, just because if Arsenal, City and Liverpool become good again, that doesn't mean United have no expectations. You need expectations, no excuses. But I didn't say there'd be no expectations. I said the expectations have to be agile. So I said if those teams stay where they are or go backwards, my expectations will increase in terms of a deadline of we should be competing by now. We should be able to win the league by now, because you don't need 95 points. You need 80 points. And that's a differential. Secondly, I've said if those teams get better, then it doesn't mean I don't have expectations on winning trophies along the way. I've already stated on other shows, and I know you've watched, David, that I expect us to win a trophy this season. But not meeting all of my expectations, that doesn't equally mean I want him sacked and out the door straight away, because I'm not that polarized of a person. You have to contextualize it. Are we improving? Just because we've missed out on a trophy, does it mean are we best placed to just sack this manager and bring somebody else in at this particular moment? No. We are trying to build something. You know, I look at Arsenal right now, a prime example. They've built a team that should be capable of winning major trophies. If Arteta can't get him over the line, it makes sense to move on from him. It's very different from his first. Now we look back with hindsight, his first couple of years where he was trying to get that squad built. Now, listen, if you had brought a better manager in, maybe you would have been winning sooner, but maybe you wouldn't have even completed a rebuild. We don't know what we don't know, right? Both of those theories exist. So I just think what people are trying to do to Man United fans is say you've got to have high expectations, and if we don't meet some of those expectations, we want to see you all turn on the manager. And it isn't about that. Some of the expectations are about style of football. They are about us having an identity. They are about us feeling like the players care and enjoying the football that we watch and knowing that, you know what, I'm excited today. In the short term, some of the expectations are just going into games believing, like we did under Ruud, that we've got a chance to win today. We went into so many games as United fans putting our hands on our heart, thinking, I don't even see how we get a point today. I don't even see how we score today. And so there's so much. I mean, of course, we have the expectations to get back to the top, but the idea of having a hard deadline of if in 2 years we're not as good as this Man City team, I want the manager sacked. I think that's crazy. I genuinely think that's a crazy level of expectation to push out at this particular moment.
There's going to be context, like match performances. How are you getting those points?
Of course.
Are you getting?
Of course, we're out context as the season goes, Lawless.
Yeah. There's things that come into that besides where you are in. Obviously, performance is everything, right? But if you fall short and you can clearly see progress, you see the team playing well, but you can say, do you know what? If we just had a better goalkeeper, if we just get a couple more, and
that's it. And that's when I don't necessarily blame a head coach who isn't buying our players, by the way. So if he gets us next season, let's say we're brilliant this season, and let's paint a hypothetical picture. And viewers that are angry, I've said hypothetical. Okay, it doesn't mean I think this is going to happen. And let's say we're in a title race. Okay, United have improved good. We come second to Liverpool, miss out by 10 points. But you know what? Højlund just weren't quite good enough. There's too many games where he had great chances and he didn't put the ball in the back of the net. Staffy was right. That for me is a case of where you go and get Gyökeres, you go and get Isak, you go and sign a better striker. You don't need to really change anything else. And that's what happened for years under Fergie. Do you know what? We need another striker. Boom, another striker comes in, team gets better, wins a trophy. That's where I don't always think you focus on the manager. If, for instance, the style of play isn't looking right, we're too sketchy out of possession, that's where I look at it and think, is that really about better players, or is that about them being better drilled? And I don't think Man United have been at a point over for more than, say, 6 months at a time in the last 11 years where we've looked at a team and gone, we just need better players. We've always looked at it and gone, there's something wrong with how we're trying to play. So again, an expectation I have of my new ownership and manager is to get us to a point where we should really be focusing on players more so than systems and coaching. I just don't think we've been in that space really and truly for about 11 years. It's a long time. We just haven't ever got it right from a structural point of view. And we know this with the players, because how many players have been the targets? Get rid of Fellaini, get rid of Rooney, get rid of Pogba, get rid of Martial, drop this person, sell this individual. Loads of them have come and gone, and we've never really got any better. So I think it proves the point, and most of them have left and done well elsewhere. This is more about the structures to begin with than it is individual players, and that will come in time.
When's the last time you actually proper challenged, would you say? Because I'm just thinking about
2013 when we won it. That was the last time we challenged.
We haven't really challenged. Like, we finished second, I think, 3 times, and none of them were we really challenging for it.
Yeah, like, so out of everyone in the so-called like Big Six or whatever, you're the team that's gone the longest without a challenge. Because even Spurs have had like maybe their season.
We haven't challenged for a Champions League or a Premier League since 2013.
Yeah, that's insane.
Which is why that's why people are sitting there going, we just need to change. We've got to get rid of Rashford. It's why Rashford is like the least of my worries. Because getting rid of Rashford, you could literally give us 10 better players than Rashford in other positions. Without a club structure, we fail. How do I know? I've seen my club in the last 11 years sign Pogba, Zlatan, Di Maria, Falcao, to name just a few, and we didn't get any better. You know, like in the short term, maybe, but we didn't get any better. So
we never got close to winning a league. Yes.
No. Yeah. Exactly.